Welcome back to Mind Polish. In this video, we will explore the prophecies in the Bible that foretell the coming of Prophet Muhammad, the prophet who brought the Quran and whose followers are called Muslims. Stay with us until the end to find out if the Jews concealed this shocking fact within the Old Testament and if Christians altered the New Testament to hide it. Christians traditionally view Isaiah 42 as a prophecy about Jesus Christ. They believe that the servant mentioned in this chapter refers to the Messiah, whom they identify as Jesus. This interpretation is remotely alluded to by the New Testament, specifically in Matthew 12 verses 18 to 21, which quotes Isaiah 42 and applies it to Jesus. Christians see the characteristics of the servant, gentleness, bringing justice, and being a light to the Gentiles, as fitting descriptions of Jesus' ministry and mission. He is seen as the one who brings forth justice and does not break a bruised reed or quench a dimly burning wick, symbolizing his compassion and healing nature. But these accounts exclude further details within Isaiah 42, which include him being a warrior, which does not describe Jesus, and that he will come out of Arabia, which does not describe Jesus as well. In contrast, Jewish interpretations typically see the servant in Isaiah 42 as a representation of the nation of Israel or a righteous individual within Israel. Traditional Jewish exegesis often views this servant as embodying the collective mission of the Jewish people to be a light to the nations through their adherence to God's laws and ethical monotheism. For example, Rashi and other Jewish scholars interpret the servant as the nation of Israel, tasked with bringing justice and enlightenment to the world. The passage emphasizes the role of Israel in spreading divine justice and moral teachings to humanity according to some who interpret it. Rabbi Dr. Max Wertheimer, a Jewish convert to Christianity, argued that Isaiah 42 referred to the Messiah rather than Israel. He believed that the righteous servant could not be Israel, which the prophet often described as sinful. Instead, he saw the characteristics described in Isaiah 42 as aligning more closely with the qualities of the Messiah. But these accounts altogether are pointing out that the description of the coming of the prophet within Isaiah 42 is a mere metaphor, allegory, or symbolism, neglecting the fact that Isaiah 42 explicitly discusses a prophecy about the future. The Muslim position, the most objective and logical explanation to the 42nd chapter of the book of Isaiah in the Bible, clearly predicts the coming of an Arabian prophet, specifically Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Isaiah describes it as a prophecy about the future, where God states that the former things have taken place and new things he declares. God begins the chapter by drawing our attention to a very special person that he will send, describing this person as my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom I delight. At least 3 of the names of the Prophet Muhammad are mentioned: servant, chosen one, and in whom I delight. These statements are really the key to all of this, as they have been translated and watered down to become vague, whether intentionally or by human error. Isaiah was originally written in Hebrew, and both Arabic and Hebrew share many common words as they are Semitic languages. Isaiah uses the Hebrew word ebed for servant, while the Arabic equivalent is abd. Prophet Muhammad is known as God's servant in Arabic, Abdullah. The term chosen one translates to Mustafa in Arabic, another name for Prophet Muhammad. The phrase the one in whom God delights signifies Habibullah in Arabic, meaning beloved of God, which is also one of the Prophet Muhammad's known names. In Isaiah, God also reveals the location of this special person, stating, "Let the wilderness and its towns raise their voices, let the settlements where Kedar lives rejoice." Among all the nations on earth that God inspired Isaiah to mention, he specifically highlighted Kedar's location, suggesting it deserves our attention. Kedar, the son of Ishmael, is known to be in Arabia where Abraham left Ishmael and his mother. Throughout the Bible, Kedar and his descendants are linked to Arabia. For instance, the book of Ezekiel tells us that Arabia and all the princes of Kedar were your favorite dealers in lambs, rams, and goats. In Isaiah, God further narrows the location to a specific city within Arabia, stating that the people of Selah should sing for joy and shout from the mountaintops. Sulla refers to a famous mountain in Medina, Saudi Arabia, indicating that the place being spoken of is the city of Medina, where Prophet Muhammad lived after his migration there. The people of Salah have also been the people who welcomed Prophet Muhammad with joy, even though they never met him. They were in fact the only people who welcomed him and his followers. Historically, many Jewish tribes moved to Medina before the advent of the Prophet Muhammad. Both Jewish historians and Islamic history document this fact, prompting the question of why so many Jewish tribes were in Medina. The answer lies in the prophecy in Isaiah, which the learned Jews were aware of and were anxiously awaiting the arrival of a new prophet, their Messiah whom they deny today. Islamic history records that whenever disputes arose between the Jews and the Arabs in Medina, the Jews would taunt their pagan Arab neighbors by saying, "When our prophet arrives, we shall obliterate you." The Quran also affirms this, with God stating, "Is it not a sign to them that the learned men of the children of Israel knew it as true, and they certainly knew, and we will get to it in a moment." In Isaiah, God informs us that the special person will bring something new, saying, "Sing to the Lord a new song, his praise from the ends of the earth." This statement signifies a new law and a new way of worship, which is exactly what Prophet Muhammad's message represents. The Quran opens with the statement, "Praise be to God, Lord of the worlds," recited by Muslims all over the world during their daily prayers. The new song cannot refer to Jesus, as he did not bring anything new, rather, he confirmed the law of Moses. In the Gospel of Matthew chapter 5 verse 17 to 18, Jesus said, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy but to fulfill." Jesus obeyed and followed the law of Moses throughout his life, and his disciples continued to do so even after his departure. In Isaiah, God emphasizes the universal mission of the coming person, stating that he will be made a covenant for the people and a light for the Gentiles. Gentiles means non-Jews. The Quran confirms that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was sent to all of mankind, including both Jews and Gentiles. In the Quran, God tells us, "We have sent you, O Prophet, as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner for the whole of mankind, but most people have no knowledge." The verse in Isaiah cannot refer to Jesus, who said, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel," and this is explicit in the Bible, yet people overlook it as though it isn't there. Isaiah also states that God will lead the blind by ways they have not known, along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. The pagan Arabs at the time of Prophet Muhammad fit this description perfectly, as they had not received a messenger before Muhammad. The Quran bears witness to this, with God stating that Muhammad was sent to warn a people to whom no warner had come before. The verse in Isaiah cannot apply to Jesus, whose people, the Israelites, had already received dozens of prophets from God. Isaiah underscores that this special person will be sent to those who trust in idols and say to images, "You are our gods." At the start of Muhammad's prophethood, the whole of Arabia consisted of idol worshippers. This cannot refer to Jesus, whose people, the Israelites, were monotheists and did not worship idols. Furthermore, Jesus explicitly instructed his disciples to avoid the idol-worshipping Gentiles, which is the opposite of what God prophesies in Isaiah. The Gospel of Matthew tells us that Jesus sent out his disciples with these instructions, "Do not go among the Gentiles." So it is obvious that Jesus did not communicate with or teach the Gentiles, nor was he instructing Gentiles anything related to his gospel. In Isaiah, God states that this special person will be a warrior who will go forth as a mighty man, stirring up jealousy like a man of war, crying, roaring, and prevailing against his enemies. Throughout history, God has dealt sternly with those who persist in disbelief despite being sent guidance. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was instructed by God and had to engage in many battles with the idol-worshipping enemies of God and ultimately prevailed against them through multiple defensive battles, skirmishes, and some offensive battles. By contrast, Jesus did not triumph over his enemies. According to Christians, he was crucified by them. Additionally, Jesus was not inclined to fight, he was a pacifist, nor was he a warrior in any shape or form. According to the Bible, he said, "For all who draw the sword will die by the sword," and, "My kingdom is not of this world," "If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight." Isaiah lists several significant achievements for this special person, with the foremost being that idol worshippers will be turned back in utter shame. Prophet Muhammad not only conquered Mecca, the pagan capital of Arabia, but by the end of his life, in just 23 short years of prophethood, Arabia had completely abandoned idol worship and turned to worship the one true God of Abraham. This cannot apply to Jesus, as Christians were humiliated and greatly ashamed for hundreds of years after Jesus, persecuted by the Roman Empire, who were idol worshippers. They executed some of the apostles of Jesus, such as Peter and Paul, and early Jewish Christians were tortured and even fed to lions. The only reason Christians exist today is because of Paul and his innovation and alteration of the Bible. After many years, the emperors of Rome decided to adopt this faith. Isaiah concludes with an admonishment from God, "Hear, you deaf, look, you blind, and see. You have seen many things, but you pay no attention, your ears are open, but you do not listen. Which of you will listen to this or pay close attention in time to come?" It is clear that the deaf and blind God referred to in this verse are those who rejected Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his time or continue to reject him to this day. Who among you will heed God's message by acknowledging him? Who will listen and pay close attention in time to come? As a confirmation of Prophet Muhammad being mentioned in the Bible, when we head to the Old Testament and go to Song of Solomon chapter 5 verse 16, it says, "His mouth is most sweet, yeah, he is altogether lovely. This is my beloved, and this is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem." You would likely say, well, it doesn't mention Muhammad clearly. That is correct, because of the translation. But let us read this verse in the original language, in Hebrew. It says, "Hiko, mamitakim, wikalo, Muhammadim, zaydudi, waziriai, Baina, Jerusalem." Muhammadim, and with an emphasis on the end of the word, which hazim is of great importance. Muhammad is clearly mentioned there by name, and the end of the word which hazim is used in Hebrew as the majestic plural. This is usually used with words like Elohim. Im is giving respect to the entity referred to by the set of characters preceding it. So in this case, it is giving respect to Muhammad. The word Muhammad literally translates to the loved one or praised one, and this is how it was translated from Hebrew to English, whether knowingly to conceal or in error. In John 16 verse 7 it says, "Nevertheless I tell you the truth, it is better for you that I go away, for if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you, but if I depart, I will send him unto you." It continues in 16:8 and says, "And he, when he comes, will convict the world concerning sin and righteousness and judgment." The only prophet who came after Jesus, peace and blessing be upon him, that confirms Jesus' message as well as fits all of these descriptions is only Muhammad. Then in John 16 verses 12 to 15 it says, "I have much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all the truth. He will not speak on his own, he will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come. He will glorify me because it is from me that he will receive what he will make known to you." Muhammad indeed did honor Jesus and did not preach idolatry, nor did he preach something foreign. Muhammad preached the same message that has been sent with prophets and messengers to hundreds of civilizations and nations, and that is to only believe and worship in one God, that same God that sent revelations to Moses, Jesus, and finally, Muhammad. As we see, these prophecies align perfectly with no one other than Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and that he is clearly mentioned in the Song of Solomon as well as the Gospel of John, in both the Old and New Testament. Now, what do you make of that? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, and like for more content like this. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time,